Before I get started, I'm going to section out that money piece using the arch of the eyebrows as a guide to create that triangular section, and then split the hair right down the middle and then use the apex right behind the ear. I'm going to start off with a diagonal section right in the back, so just clipped it right on up, and then I'm going to use my blow dryer on the coolest setting at a high blow and holding the hair completely straight out of the head at 90 degrees and then blow drying the hair right on through. So whatever falls out is what I'm going to pull and kind of guide out of my little bit of extra tension going on. And then I'm going to apply my 2 different lighteners. So the reason why I'm going in with 2 different lighteners is because she does have previously lightened ends and she has a large grow out. So that's where I'm going to use that 30 volume blue powder, and I'm going to blend it into that Beyond Bond lightener. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, holding the hair straight out at a 90-degree angle, using my blow dryer to push through those hairs and then further guiding it through. What this Airtouch technique is doing is mimicking a teasy light. So that's really why I love this technique. But what makes it even more fabulous is the fact that you're not going to have to deal with the comb out that the teasy light is gonna endure for you. So usually when you tease the hair, you have to shampoo it out with the tease in, and then you have to spend a little bit of extra time combing out this hair. With the Airtouch, it's just pushing those hairs organically right on through. Now once you get those 2 diagonal sections right in the back, I'm taking a horizontal section, and this is pretty much the pattern that I'm going to do right in the back. So each of my Airtouch sections are about 2 inches wide, and anytime I have a pretty wide triangle, I do like to weave out that bottom triangle that you saw that I did a little earlier, and then still taking that blue powder lightener, stroking it right on up, not too far into the root, because it's not really going to allow you, especially because you have that Airtouch technique and separation going on. And then I'm blending it right into that lightener on the ends, and that's just because her hair is pretty thick, and this is going to ensure proper saturation. So once I'm done with that section, again, I'm going to do another 2 diagonals on each side. So you can see I'm not really marrying the diagonals so much. I'm just more concerned with how much space am I comfortable with applying my lightener in. So if you have like a little awkward space in the center, that's totally fine. Just keep in mind, like whatever you're trying to create, you want more lightness and more brightness, you're going to take thinner sections. If you want more depth, you're going to take wider sections. So this is kind of why I'm taking about, like I said, 2-inch wide sections. Some of them are about 1.5 inches, and I do get a little smaller sections as I work towards the top of the head. So I really like keeping the depth on the underside and then brightening it up as I get towards the top. A pro tip when doing the Airtouch technique is to make sure you're using a really powerful dryer. I personally like my Dyson Pro because of its really narrow nozzle and pushes out. This is really the trick in what's going to allow for that. As I get towards the top, I'm going to finish off with diagonal sections, and I'm going horizontal according to how her cowlick falls. Each of my sections are now about a 1/2 inch thick. So again, I want to create more brightness, so I'm taking smaller sections with less depth as I get right towards the top. All foiled in before I finish her off with some more Airtouch. That tutorial right here in the link provided or in the description. This front hairline, you can see I brushed the hair completely back and then pulled that first section towards me and weaved it out. This is just going to give me a nice clean working space to work with, and I don't have to worry about any bleeding or anything like that right onto that hairline. Oil while I paint on my lightener. So I'm still using that blue powder lightener, and then now I'm gonna go in with a few back-to-back baby lights right on this hairline, but there's no hair in between each of these sections. So that's really important for you to know. For my blondes or anyone that just wants an overall brightened effect right around that hairline. So the more blonde, kind of the better. Now, after I get those two back-to-backs with no subsection in between, now I'm starting to incorporate that subsection. So I'm going in diagonally here, and there's a little bit of hair left over, and these are just baby lights, and I'm taking my lightener all the way to the root. So even though I'm going to be doing a shadow root on this later, I'm barely going to tap it in right onto this front hairline because she's going to want to see that blonde almost looking like it's growing out from her scalp. So I'm just going to finish up with a total of 4 foils on each side here, and then I'm going to get ready to do that money piece. Now to get started, I'm going to do the same thing that I did to the sides, is pulling the hair back and weaving those hairs towards me and taking the lightener all the way to the root. I'm actually going to be doing 4 back-to-back baby lights with no hair in between each of the foils. So again, no hair in between the subsections. This is just going to give me a uneven looking type of root. Even though I am going all the way to the roots with my lightener, the effect that it creates looks a lot more natural than just going in with. Now once I get in these 4 back-to-back baby lights, I'm then going to finish off my triangular section with a few more teasy lights right onto the top. So I'm just going to take my sliced section, tease the hair all the way down, and then bringing that lightener just a few inches away from that teased section and then stroking it up. So what this is doing is transitioning that at the root look into a more rooted look right on the top of the head. So I just personally love this technique. Now once I get the money piece and those front sections foiled up, I'm going to finish off the sides horizontally using my Airtouch technique. So a little added tip that you just saw me do is applying the lightener. So you can see her hair is 100% dried, and we got a nice lift out of our lightener, and I'm going in with that Studio Stylist Express right in the back. So I like working from the back and then working my way up to the front. Now I do like to have a little bit more depth in the back, so I am bringing that studio. I'm going to do the same application for the sides, and I'm bringing it down just a few inches, and then I'm going to blend it into that demi-permanent formula. But you can see I've isolated that front hairline where I took those baby lights all the way to the root, including where her money piece was at. Lightest and brightest effect possible for that front. But when I tap in this Studio Stylist Express, I'm only going in about 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to go in and apply my demi-permanent formula right onto those ends because I want that violet tone to be a little bit higher. So I'm very, very careful